Good morning. This is Arlisa Walton. From my classroom to yours. This morning I would like to continue a previous lesson that I shared with you, and it was the lesson regarding learning centers for middle and high school students. So today I'd like to share the assignment sheet that I give each and every student as they participate in the learning centers. And again, this is for middle and high school learning stations and centers, the assignment sheet that I provide to each student, and it helps them to have accountability, and I'm able to give them a formative grade. And as far as tasks that they have completed in each section. Now, let me start with each student is provided with the assignment sheet, and each student must put his or her name on the sheet, the date, and of course I have them put the teacher's name. The purpose of the stations is to remediate and enrich student learning. Each student is responsible and accountable for completing and submitting his or her learning station assignment sheet. Student expectations. Students need to know what they can expect prior to setting up these stations, and as they move along to complete the different tasks that are assigned. The students will spend 20 minutes in assigned stations, and not more than 20 minutes. And with the learning stations, I just basically use the learning stations one day per week, and usually on Mondays, because it's something that students look forward to. Not that they complete the tasks that are in the various stations, but 20 minutes usually they remain on task for that amount of time. Another very important note: before you set up these learning stations for your students, you must teach them the content. So students should not be expected to participate or do the task in any of the stations if you did not teach them content as a whole class, so that they'll know exactly what it is that they need to do, and can do the various tasks without learning the material, because the stations are set up as practice for them. Let's see, I left off at 3. You must complete student information sheet and indicate station number. So each student has to complete the sheet, because that lets you know if the student participated in the task, and it keeps students on target. Let's see, each student needs a pen or pencil and paper, and students, you must remain within your assigned group as you travel from station to station. Please do not, number 6 is major, no student is allowed to disrupt other groups. If a student elects not to participate in the group that he is assigned to, then he will receive a 0. Or if, and usually it's at my discretion or the teacher's discretion as to whether or not I give this student an option, the option of another individual assignment to do. But I encourage my students to travel in groups, and I have no more than 3 students per group. Well, not more than 4, depending on how large your class size is. Okay, now for station number 1, sorry, the light just went out. Station number 1, and I have several stations set up, so you could actually set up various stations according to the content that you teach. My stations are set up for English, reading and writing stations. So for my station number 1 would be news. A student will read one article from the commentary or editorial. Student will analyze articles and must compose 5 unanswered questions about the article. So students can do this within a 20-minute period. And I usually use Kelly Gallagher's article of the week, and I select the article. I place 3 or 4 articles on the table for the students to narrow down to one. But this is actually a lesson that the students have worked on as an entire class. So I'm just taking lessons that the students have already had and breaking them down into smaller groups as they practice. Now, station number 2 is vocabulary. And it's basically, I give the students 5 new vocabulary words. They must identify a part of speech, write a definition of the word, use a thesaurus or a dictionary. To do so, compose a sentence with at least 10 words, and I'll place magazine articles. I'll place magazines and scissors and glue or tape on the table so that they can actually clip a picture that is symbolic to that vocabulary word that matches the sentence. So that was station number 2. I've included one that's organizational charts, a mix and match. That could be done for that can actually be done for one of the stations, and I've given some examples for organizational patterns, so you can actually decide whether or not that's something that you want to include or incorporate. And the students only check off those activities that I direct them to on the sheet, so they don't do all the activities at times. Sometimes I just tell them to go to station. Today you will be working on station 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. So I break them up like that, and I tell the students what stations in advance, but usually they don't do all of the stations. I just list different stations on the sheet. There is station 3, and that could be reading, and the student will receive a letter which they will discuss as a group. Students will discuss the letters or the speech and do an annotation, or they can actually have a paragraph or sentence strips which they must place in order of importance, but some type of similar activity. There's also another reading activity that can be done, which would be station number 4, I'm sorry, and that would be the traditional literature circle, where remember, it's been around for a long time. The director, the illustrator, the real world reporter, vocabulary person, summarizer, and each student is assigned a task. And usually I don't do all of these. I select 4 out of these assigned positions for the students to do, depending on their ability. And there is station number 5, which I placed a Scrabble. I placed a Scrabble game there in that particular center, and students were able to form words. So that was the Scrabble game. And section number 6, I placed 4 computers within that section, and they could actually do iCubicosin and answer questions and have a discussion. And with iCubicosin, they must tell why they selected the answer or the response that they did. Or I have them to do freewrites.org, the vocabulary, and I encourage them to, and that's quite competitive. I have them to answer vocabulary questions and provide at least 3,000 grains of rice within a 20-minute period, if they can. There's also, let's see, poetry annotation. I provide the students with one poem, and that entire group must analyze that one poem and fill out the poetry annotation sheet for that. There's also there's section number 8, and section number 8 could actually be standardized questions strips, where the student actually has to match the right response to the right question to the right statement. So there are certain various things that you can actually do. If one doesn't work, then what you do is you just remove that item or remove that station and then put one in its place. There's another one. The other one is station number 9. Station number 9, and that station number 9 is actually just a silent read. Two students sit and they do a silent read of the same novel, and they usually manage to make it through the first and second sections of that novel, but the students rotate. The students are only in their stations for 20 minutes. So therefore, if you have if it's 20 minutes per station for a student, the students may actually only do 3 stations, and that would be within a 60-minute time period. Or you could just do 15 minutes and just change and customize the stations to best suit your students. And that's just about it for the high school and middle school learning station assignment sheet. And I found this assignment sheet has just been a fabulous help to me in my classroom with my students. And this is something that I wanted to share with you, which is the part 2 of my setting up the learning stations using just Classroom Desk and a few overhead signs so that the students would know where the stations are located. And also I used arrows in addition to using folders and placing any type of sheet that they needed for that particular station in that sheet, and it was attached to the wall closest to that station. That's it. Okay, from my classroom to yours, have a great day. And I look forward to sharing other things as they come along in my classroom. Thank you.